Now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
All right, Ken, thanks very much. Hello again, everyone. It is a Monday night edition of the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, Pittsburgh CW. You can call that Bordas and Bordas hotline. It's always there for you at 412-575-2600. Bob Pompeani, Gene Collier here with you in studio tonight. Gene, of course, the outstanding columnist from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. We're going to begin with the Steelers bye week, come back to business, and all of a sudden they're in first place. Voila. That's the benefit of being in the AFC North. Quite frankly, all of these divisions have their weaknesses, don't they? Yeah, there are very few really outstanding teams around the National Football League. A lot of 2, 3, 4 loss teams. Oakland Raiders 1-5. Jacksonville Jaguars, really disappointing club, as you pointed out, I believe, on Twitter today, Bob. Yeah, they're not good. Yeah. And they have internal strife, just like Cleveland does. Yes, they do. So they're coming up for the Steelers November 17th, but of course the two big AFC Central games first, Cleveland and Baltimore, and then there's a Thursday night game with Carolina, who played really well at Philadelphia. After trailing 17-0, they came back and won that game. It's interesting how the NFL goes, but parity rules the roost. We have that a lot. We only have a few teams that really stand out. One of them, of course, the LA Rams, undefeated. Aaron Donald got 4 more sacks yesterday. Goff's been terrific. Gurley in the running back department. In the AFC, I mean, New England, followed by probably Kansas City and the Chargers at this point. But the Steelers look at this now with a good opportunity to really separate themselves. They have 2 games coming up against Cleveland and Baltimore. What do you make of what's going on in Cleveland, Gene? Because Hugh Jackson was very quick to point out over and over again yesterday that he is the head coach, and as such, he can get involved in other things like offense. He doesn't like what he sees from the offense. That would directly indict Coach Todd Haley. So what's your take of what might happen there? Yeah, it would seem to be an indictment against Todd Haley. It was interesting because that really was Baker Mayfield far in just terms of quarterback play. And, of course, it took a 59-yard overtime field goal to beat them. But Hugh Jackson has a lot of experience as an offensive coordinator, Bob. He's been the OC of, I think, 4 or 5 different teams in 4 or 5 different seasons. So, I'm sure he feels confident in his abilities that way. So, yeah, I wouldn't be happy if I was Todd Haley at this point. But at the same time, if you look at the beginning of the season, it was not Todd Haley. Instead, it was Hugh Jackson who said, Tyrod Taylor is my quarterback. Right. And he was the quarterback to start, and he didn't do well. A lot of people came as no surprise. You didn't expect Tyrod Taylor to be a good quarterback, and so they put in Baker Mayfield, and they put him behind the 8 ball right off the bat in terms of preparation, I thought. So that's on him as the head coach, not the offensive coordinator. But who knows? They've been known to make some mistakes. They've been. They traded Josh Gordon in New England, and look what's happened there. Interesting you mentioned the Raiders. I'm just curious your take on John Gruden. They trade Khalil Mack, got a lot of draft picks coming back, and then today they trade Amari Cooper and get a first-round draft pick. So they have, over the next several years, they have a lot of number 1 picks and number 2 picks. They're kind of pooling what the Cleveland Browns did, but hopefully for them they'll do it better. Yeah, and John Gruden didn't draft all that well as the boss in Tampa Bay either, but it seems to have taken the John Gruden should be fired narrative off the table for a while anyway. Let's talk about another guy who's being mentioned because we saw the trade with Cooper today, Patrick Peterson. Now, last week Arizona said they have no plans on trading him. Today, according to reports, he came out and demanded to be traded because he doesn't like what's going on there. He thinks it's a dumpster fire, essentially. Those are my words, not his, but that's what it is. He wants to be out. If you were a team like the Steelers, would you be interested, and how much would you be willing to give up to get him? Yeah, I would be. I think we mentioned this on the show last week. I'd give up a number 1 for Patrick Peterson, but it's very difficult, if you're Kevin Colbert and Mike Tomlin looking at it, because you don't know which way this is going to go. The Steelers still could, screw this season up and end up 8-7 or 8-7-1 or 7-8-1, in which case they draft about 15th, I think. Ray Fittipaldo was pointing this out today. And then you're giving up, the 15th pick in the draft. That's a lot different than the 31st or 32nd pick. So, it is. I would do it, but, I have nothing riding on it. Nothing. The other side of that is if this team thinks that window is open now with Roethlisberger and with an offensive line that is getting older but still very effective, you may want to strike right now when you have an opportunity to do so. Not unlike what Jim Rutherford has done with the Penguins when he has, traded high picks, number 1 picks for
players who can help them right now. So it depends on what you're looking at right now, but the Steelers still have a good opportunity in the AFC. We'll take a break. We have plenty more coming up. It's 412-575-2600. We'll do some World Series talk. Who do you like in that one? The rich of the rich going head-to-head. We'll talk about it and more as we continue live right here on Pittsburgh CW.